Hi everyone, my name is Nairi Kerdolian. Thank you for joining this new session of the Supply Chain Leaders webinar series. Today, we will focus on a global collaborative demand planning project at Villemorin-Mikado, the Franco-Japanese seed producer. A big thank you to our three speakers, Céline Prédonzan, Demand Planning Manager, Hélène Larder, Head of Global Sales, and Sendai Fontenot, Future Master Business Solution Manager at Villemorin-Mikado. Connected together, we are stronger. That's what we're going to be demonstrating today. The presentation will last about 30 minutes and will be followed by a 15-minute Q&A session at the end. So if you have got any questions as we go through the presentation, you can ask them in the Q&A section of your screen. I'll now hand over to Hélène to begin the presentation.
Hi everyone, I'm Hélène Larder, Head of Global Sales for Villemorin-Mikado. I'm very pleased to join this webinar with my both colleagues. Let's start our webinar by introducing you our business activities as well as our company. Villemorin-Mikado is a Franco-Japanese company. Initially, there were two companies, Villemorin in France and Koshibe San Family Company in Japan. Both have been pioneers in their activities and joined the group Limagrain, respectively in 1975 and 2007. Our group Limagrain is a French cooperative owned by farmers from Auvergne region. We are specialized in seed business for field crops and vegetable crops, as well as food industry. Limagrain is a global leader for vegetable seeds. Our main objective is to contribute to the progress of agriculture everywhere in the world through our innovation and for all types of agriculture. Villemorin-Mikado is part of Limagrain, is well known for its range of carrot seeds and supposed to be number one for this specific crop. At Villemorin-Mikado, we are creating, producing and selling varieties of vegetables. Our scope is global. Our goal is to innovate sustainable solutions for the vegetable sector. We want to grow worldwide together with our team and with our partners. We are dedicating 15% of our revenues in research. We have 1/3 of our teams dedicated to R&D for breeding, but also for seed technology. We sell around 1,500 varieties, and we have invoiced for a bit more than 200 million euros in 2021. On this map, you can see our two plants. One is located in France and the other one in Japan. We have 15 locations, from which 12 are distribution platforms or commercial subsidiaries to sell our products. We are also relying on a global network of partners to cover more than 120 countries. All of this is done with a global team with 1,000 people and more than 25 nationalities. We are handling 120,000 order lines, and we are invoicing 5,200 customers. Before describing our demand supply, I'd like to give you some insight on our specific job. This is the example of the carrot production, our blockbuster product. So the production is starting in the field with close to 1 year from sowing, emergence, growth, flowering, pollination, harvest, and then transport of the seeds to our plant. Then there is a second step that is managed in the plant. We have the reception of the seeds, the drying, micro-cleaning, cleaning, sizing, sorting, etc. And we are also managing diverse seed technology steps, priming, seed protection, seed coating, etc. Throughout the whole process, we are managing checks, quality checks, germination, sanitary quality, genetic control. Afterwards, we will manage the order, packaging, and also include all of the export documentation. This is lasting 3 to 6 months at best before delivering to our customers. And just afterwards, just for you to know, those seeds are then used by the growers all around the world to produce carrots in a time frame of 3 to 6 months before you actually see the carrots in the stores. So as a summary, you clearly see on this slide the long time frame that we are managing in between decision time and actual results of our decisions. We are talking of a 2 years process. I would like to dig into our challenges. The first one is inventory management. With a time frame of 2 years for our blockbusters product, we have a critical action to properly manage our inventory. In addition, our stock is perishable. And of course, we don't want to mobilize over our cash in inventory because the heart of our activity is really R&D. The second challenge is the volatility of the demand. We do not have a full commitment of our customers ahead of production. And also, the forecast may evolve with the performance of the material as well as the climatic conditions. The third one is the growth. Villemot and Mikado has grown a lot in the last decade through acquisitions, through new market access, etc. We are projecting a continuous growth in the coming years, and we need to manage this in the best way. We need to invest a lot in order to create the varieties that will solve issues at production in 10 years from now. So that's a key element. And the fourth challenge is really the R&D investment. We are also managing a long timeline. I already mentioned it before. We need time to produce the seeds. We need time to process them. Then our range is not basic and standard. We are managing a complex and segmented range. All varieties are specific to local markets, conditions, and requirements. We have numerous species, numerous varieties per species, format, quality, packaging, etc. So at the end, a lot of SKUs to meet customers' needs. And to finish, we are working with nature, and sometimes we are impacted by crop failure or, on the contrary, with excess of seeds. We are trying to mitigate this risk, producing on both hemispheres, but still we need to manage it in the best way. Our continuous growth needs to be supported by a structured process. I will now hand over to Céline, our Global Demand Supply Manager, to take over, and she will explain you about this structured process and our collaborative work.
Thank you, Hélène, for this explanation. I am Céline Prédonzon, Demand Planner Manager for Villemot and Mikado, and I will effectively now explain how the supply chain, and particularly demand planning, of course, can help Villemot and Mikado to support the growth. So a small but important point that we have in Villemot and Mikado is that this company grow very fast on last decades. That means that the processes were clearly adapted to a smaller company. And of course, you can easily understand that we could not continue with that, and we had to adapt ourselves. So you have understood with Hélène's explanation that we have to manage a lot of challenges in the company. And we well have in mind today that the supply chain challenges are very close to the company challenges. So we need to, in supply chain, to anticipate and to manage the lead time because we are carrot leader and we need to forecast what we have to sell in 2 years and after. So it's quite complex. We need to manage also the inventory. So as Hélène said, we need to have cash to have some cash flow to invest in research, for example. And for inventory, I can say that it's a major challenge for Villemot and Mikado because in the past, we clearly secured the growth with stock increase. So it was easy because as soon as we have a new opportunity, even if we don't have any forecast, we have the stock. So it's easy, but the challenges are now not the same. And we have to manage clearly the inventory to have the right level of inventory. Of course, we need to measure and to have some KPI to be sure that we will have the right data and we keep close to the information we have from the market. And we have also in supply chain to manage the uncertainty of the demand at global level. So we work in Vilmorin-Mikado, of course, as a lot of other companies, on a complex environment. We have complexity on logistics. We need to be more and more speed on operating thing. We have a worldwide perimeter, so it's quite complex. And we also have, and it's a particularity for Vilmorin-Mikado, a new regulation and complexity increase. Also, we have, of course, climate impacts that we can't manage. And as a lot of company, we have clearly inaccuracy of forecast. Well, the conclusion we have in Vilmorin-Mikado is that the main topic on which we can have an action is forecast. So to work on that, we need to work on a common way with sales and supply chain, because we need to have regular feedback and information from the market on dynamic. We need to have a clear visibility on the whole chain. And of course, we need to manage it on short and long-term vision. The idea is to collect all this information on a common and collaborative tool. So on our long process, we can see that the forecasts are clearly the key entry data until the customer order. So we have separated in two horizons. So the first one is long-term horizon with long-term vision. The forecasts are used to define what we will put in production directly in the field. And after that, we have a short-term vision, more for the factory's activity, for processing and packing, for quality control, and also for seed technology to optimize the performance of our seed until the customer order. So the first vision is the long-term vision. So we have on Future Master on the tool 3 years of forecast. So we have the current year and N+1 and N+2. So this vision, it's very useful to to know what we have to put in production on the field. So with that, we will guarantee the seeds availability at the right period. We can have also the first visibility on available seeds quantities. So that means that, for example, we can anticipate the seasonality on the factory activities. We will also manage inventories and so cash flow and manage also the growth. Clearly, at this level, if we have no forecast, we have no seed supply and no business in 2 years and after. So for this long-term vision, we clearly are supported by our S&OP process to have global view consolidated with demand of all countries. So the particularity we have in the S&OP of Vilmorin-Mikado is that we have only 2 S&OP per year and last 4 months. So one more time, it's a collaborative validation process between supply, sales, marketing, and production departments. And we try to align what we have in forecast on the budget, so on the strategic vision of the company. So we can validate all together the figure based on fact and not other thing. So the second vision is the short-term vision. So clearly it's another horizon. On this one, we will focus clearly on the factory's processes, so seed technology, quality control, packing, and clearly the orders management. So the objective of that is to have the right data in the system on monthly basis to be sure to deliver the right product on time with the right quality on the customer. So on this level, bad forecast means risk on stocks, on shortages, and on customer satisfaction. So to pilot the process on this complex environment with the objective of forecast improvement, clearly we need a common and collaborative tool. And we have it clearly with FutureMaster. So the first objective we have with this tool is to have all our perimeter connected. And with that, we can have structured data regarding our collaborative S&OP process to have all the data, including in the same tool, to be sure to well manage it. It's clearly easier to manage our business decision and to drive all the data all around the world. The second point is that with this tool and all the data in the same tool, we drive the business on a global scope on different horizons. So as explained, we have short-term, mid-term view and a long-term view to manage easily all the processes we have. The third one is that we have a unique and common tool for the company. And we have, of course, some adaptation to each business case if needed. But clearly, we have with that a common understanding of demand data. So we have that during all the flow and all the chain from sales points to manufacturing points. And that with harmonized processes for all the departments involved. I will now give the floor to Sander, our FutureMaster Business Solution Manager, for the rest of the story and for the explanation of global FutureMaster deployment.
Thank you, Celine. So first, I will explain you the solution. Our solution will start at the customer level. We choose to be as close as we can to the field in order to collect the right data by the sales manager who is handling these customers. This forecast is adjusted monthly and it's revised deeply before each S&OP process. We have a monthly base, so we don't have forecast at weekly regulation. The sales forecast, it's handled only in quantity, but we have the possibility to check in the reports with the value, how much turnover that it gives. In order to help the construction of the sales forecast, we provide data from our ERP, data like sales, actual sales, sales price, etc. So we choose to have all the data properly handled in our ERP tool. As a second step, there is a validation also of a subsidiary manager. So what was put on sales forecast by the forecast owner, it is validated by each sub-manager. Like that, we have a consolidation figure by country. This will permit to calculate an ex-factory forecast. This is done in the DRP calculation. As a third step of the sales forecast, we have the demand planner. Demand planner is the actor who will take the loop to analyze deeperly the figures. So it's this person who will challenge, compare to the financial figures if we are online or not. Demand planner will also manage to see if seeds can be available. We have the production figures to know if we will have enough seeds or not. And if needed, it's at this level that we will put some allocation. A very important part also that it's done at this step, it's that we will split the forecast that we collect at the first step, will be split till the SKU level. Once we have that, we call it consensus forecast because it's done like a collaborative process. And these data are sent to our ERP for the long term and for the short term. Just some figures. In total, we have 10 different profiles, around 100 forecast owner, and then we have marketing, demand planners, and commercial business managers. We have around 20 new entries per year. This can be people who change position, turnover, or people who just being connected. I will also explain how was the deployment of the tool and of the whole process. We start in 2016 with the French headquarters. We done in 2 steps. The solution was go live by the end of 2016. At that moment, we also connect subsidiaries who already have a forecasting tool before. The deployment, it's making a part of a global ERP project, and FutureMaster is one of the satellites. And we decide to don't make any implementation if ERP is not connected. Then, starting with the coming years, we deploy it on different subsidiaries, but in 2019, we should modify our process. It's because of China subsidiaries. In China, for local regulation, they need to make labeling, relabeling, so they repack our products, and it's easier to get seeds in bulk, that's meaning big bags in kilogram, and then they need to repack it into 1,000 seeds. In 2016, we don't know that we should do this part, so we should adapt our model. In 2020, there was a big project that we should connect our Japanese factory, but which was a little bit delayed. I will explain in the next slide. The challenge with the Japanese factory was to simulate new flows. Even if in 2016 two companies are merged together, we don't know exactly how we will work, and it's only before the go live that we realize that in fact there will be changes between the two factories. So connecting Japan started with a gap analysis in 2019, and we realized at that moment that we need to change our deployment process, because in other countries training was done just before the go live. For Japan, we should adapt ourselves. In order to explain the system, we need to set up a long test phase to be able to bring the system to Japanese people that they understood it before that we make the adjustments. We plan to go live in 2020 in April, but COVID just arrived. So it was froze for a period, but finally we can make it in 2021. First, we make the ERP connection, and then we make the FutureMaster connection. Also, it was delayed. We should do it in a remote connection. There was no possibility to travel to Japan. No any French people can go. During a period, key person from Japan can come to France. They come through 2 times 3 weeks to be trained. But the connection was done by remote, by adapting the hours, the working hours to each other. I just want to talk about also a technical challenge because we have the same tool. We have the same tool, the same base, and as we have 2 factories, we need to share the data at the right moment. So we need to include a second night exchanges. Technically, it was the biggest challenge to do, but of course, it was not the best and the easiest way to train people as we are not there, and also to take into consideration that there are newcomers in Japan, but changes also for French team. Go live was done so in remote, but we have a baby care phase, and we still in the phase of harmonization between the two factories. Now for the coming steps, the plan is to finish all the subsidiaries to be connected. We are still 3 which are planned. The next one is the USA one, and we hope that by the end of the year, all the subsidiaries will be connected. What we will do next year, we have many improvements, small improvements or big ones to provide. And we may also come back on the subsidiaries that we already deploy, like for Korea, where we make a simple solution by grouping all the customers into one zone. We want to split it now more into the detail. And we also want to implement the new version on FM and also to define KPIs. So now I will left the hand over to Céline, who will conclude.
Thank you, Sander. Clearly, you well understand that we work all together for a long time to connect all the subsidiary and all the headquarters. So clearly, for Vilmorin Mikado, it's an achievement because we will be all connected by the end of the year. So you can easily understand that we will not stop here. Clearly, so we have next steps. So the first objective is fully at the end of the year. And now we have to measure, improve, and animate our forecasting process. So the next step is to deploy the forecast accuracy KPI at the global perimeter. So this KPI will help us to manage in a better way S&OP process, also to manage in a better way stock levels at the various point of storage, and clearly to increase the customer satisfaction. So the objective is also to have continuous improvement to reduce our forecast discrepancies to be better and better. It's the objective. As soon as we have good data in the system, all the departments work on the best way. So for that, clearly, we have now with FutureMaster a core model solution deployed on all perimeter and all our sub and headquarter. But we clearly know that it's not sufficient. So even if the tool is quite perfect, it's not sufficient. So around the tool and around FutureMaster, we organize a lot of things. So the first point is that we have a dedicated organization. So here today we are 3 to present our solution. Hélène as sponsor, Sander as business solution manager, and myself as business owner. It's a dedicated organization around FutureMaster, and we work all together. We take decision together, and it's clearly very helpful to manage business with that. We have one core solution with FutureMaster, and with that, we can have guidelines and rules, role and responsibility well defined all around the world. Another very important point, if we have one tool, we have one way of working, and clearly it's easy to train because we have one training solution for all newcomers. And if we have new tool development, we have the same for everybody, and we can have one training for everybody. Another point is that we have animation of meetings around forecast accuracy and around the tool. We have some discussion between sales department and supply department to be sure that we are close to the market and we have the right information in the system. We share all the information to be sure that we are aware of all the things. The last point is the key user community, and for me is a real important point. we have a lot of people working in Future Master all around the world, and clearly we need to stay connected and to share all the best practices and to keep all the newcomers on board to be sure that all people have the same level of information. So to conclude, clearly in Villemorin-Mikado, we can say that whatever the cultural differences, we speak the same languages with the Future Master tool.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Céline. Thank you, Sende and Hélène, for this presentation and for sharing your insights with us today. So we're going to start the Q&A session now. That will last 15 minutes. So we received many questions from the attendees, and we're going to try to respond to as many as possible. So let's start with the first question. And I think this is for Sende. How was Future Master business expertise helpful?
Well, for me, the most important point to remark is that people from Future Master, they understood our business. As I present to you, it's that we have an idea of what we want to have a solution, and on the road we need to adapt it, and they were able to adapt the solution to our business. The second point is that they bring us their knowledge from other company, and even if we are specific company because of our delays, they can bring us what it's the expertise of other companies. And as a third point, the support of the team. By the handover, when we make small project, they transfer all the time the solution to the support team in order to be aligned later.
Okay, thank you very much. Now the second question about the users community. So that was mentioned. So how do you manage the users community considering there are salespeople and demand planners? So maybe Céline, you could answer. You can answer.
Yes, yes, I can, of course. Clearly for me, as I said, the users community is key for the company and key for us. We organize that with meetings every 3 months. So it is a lot of people, so we have separate meeting, but we share all together, and we are really connected. The objective is to keep the link and to share everything, to keep the same level on the tool and same level of information. Clearly for me, that the fact that we have sales people and demand planner, it's clearly a benefit because on this meeting we have 2 points of view, 2 way of working, and we can share on that and discuss about that. And a lot of time we have a big improvement because we can compare and share, and it's better like that than only one team with always the same constraint and like that. But user community is really shared with planning, sales, and also with sender. So maybe sender can complete my answer.
Yes, I can maybe explain that we have a website with the documents where we have the PowerPoint for the new entries, but we tried also to make documents explaining a short, just one description, how I can launch an analyzer, how I can analyze my data. So we try to do two ways of in the documents. And what is also important for me is that each time that we connect a new subsidiary, it's to make sure that we work in the same way, to share the best practice from one sub to another one. It goes by the community.
Okay, Very clear. Thank you. So now I think it's a question for Helen. How were you able to convince salespeople not to use Excel anymore?
Well, actually, this was not really the challenge. Using Excel or FutureMaster. For me, FutureMaster is a user-friendly tool, not difficult to use for my team members. Actually, they prefer to have a tool where the data are live data. They are always up to date. And also, I believe it's important that from the headquarters to any local entity, we share up-to-date figures. For me, the most challenging was not really Excel or FutureMaster, was really to bring awareness on the reason why we forecast to all of the community of users. It's a lot of persons, as you have seen, all around the world. It's very important to ensure a good awareness, a good understanding why we are doing that, and also to ensure a proper use of the tool. And that's why we are using this users community, and we are trying to support at best the users.
Okay, thank you. Now, a question. So what is the key business benefit of having a global collaborative sales forecasting process? Céline, maybe you could answer this one.
Yes. Clearly for me, the business benefit is that we have the same data, common language, and when we are with Mexico or with China sub on phone, we have the same data face to us. So we can easily discuss about that and have some decision quickly because we have the same thing in the tool. The second point is maybe that we shared quickly all the information on a dynamic way. So that means that as soon as in Japan or in China, we have a new forecast and they put a new forecast on the system, we have it and we can answer, okay, this forecast is feasible or not. And we can have discussion about that and we can have the global view because sometimes, okay, the same product is shipped to China, but also to Japan, and we can have the global view and see, okay, Japan decrease, China increase, so we can say, okay, to China to have more product. So it's a very useful tool for the business, and of course to share with all the departments all the information. Maybe Helen, you have some other comments?
Yes, maybe I can complete. Sharing the same data is key for sure. But for me, what has been really beneficial is to the management of the SNOP process. I remember in the past, sometime it was quite difficult, and now I see that it's more and more smooth and efficient. The top management is feeling more secured in the evaluation of the demand and also to establish the production plan. So I think we are much more confident when we are going through this SNOP process. It's much more smoother.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Maybe we have 5 minutes left, so let's go for 2 additional questions. What are the strengths that lie behind your collaborative organization? So who wants to answer? Céline, maybe?
Yes, I can answer. The first point for me is that we have a dedicated person with Sender who know the tool very well, and it's very helpful for the business to improve everything in the system. As soon as we have question, we can ask, and it's really dedicated. It's not only on a project team, and at the end of the project is closed, and we have nobody to answer to the question. So we can share with Sender day to day and improve the solution, and be sure that we keep close to the business with the tool. Is the first point. And maybe the second one, you can understand that we are three departments working at the head of Future Master Tool in Villemorin-Mikado with Hélène Sende and myself. And clearly we have good discussion all together. We can share, even if we have different constraints regarding between sales and supply. It's clearly not the same constraint, but we have a relevant discussion, and all people are involved in decision. So that means that the decision is not supply chain decision, not sales decision. It's a common one, and we can define the priority we have. So, for example, we have different topic, and one topic is to improve one thing on sales department. One other topic is for supply, but there is some improvement and some everything for everybody. So for me, it's better because we have less stress between the different departments, and we can clearly discuss with calm and with relevant information, opinion, and like that. And also the third point is that we really use user community as a link, and we try to develop this user community to be sure that all the message we have are the same all around the world and are shared with all the departments and all the countries and all the companies. So it's clearly useful to work all together.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you. So the last question, do you think this collaborative process is helpful during periods of uncertainty like or volatility like the COVID-19 crisis we went through? Maybe
I
Hélène,
can take yes, I can take this one if you wish. So yes, maybe I can mention what happened for us during the COVID crisis. When it started, actually, our activity has increased a lot. It was sometimes linked to markets that were asking for more local needs. But also some customers anticipated their orders. They wanted to secure their seed supply. So for us, with Future Master, we could manage and identify what was anticipation, what was real additional need. So it was this collaborative process that we have was useful in that matter. Another example is maybe with the actual context right now, we are also in a very uncertain context. And in some regions, we have less demand for specific products. And with the tool, we are able to reduce our needs and to show to the headquarters that those volumes can be reallocated to other regions. So it's really a platform that is helping the collaboration in that matter.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, Hélène, Céline, Sende, for your presentation today. And thank you for the attendees for joining us. We are very much interested in having your feedback on this webinar, so please take a couple of minutes to fill in the evaluation survey that you will be shortly receiving. You will also receive a recording of the webinar by email tomorrow. Thank you again to everyone. We wish you a very good day or evening.